how to
That's
explain
awesome.
it.
No,
But
that's
it's like
cool.
it's surreal. Yeah,
someone you knew before they were big.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But, so they're playing Soda Bar on the 18th. You guys should all check them out. They're playing actually 2 sets, which is cool. 2 sets in one night. Obviously, I guess that's a trending thing now.
Yeah.
So they're playing one set at around 7.
Okay.
And then again at like 9 or 10.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So you have 2 chances to see them in the same night. And that'll move us into our main focus.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now for the movie focus of the week.
All right, as I said in the beginning, we're talking about He Got Game, directed by Spike Lee. It was released May 1st, 1998, which it's May 1st today.
Wow.
We're saying hi to you from the past.
Yes.
It's, you'll be listening to this Friday, hopefully, or sometime the following week. It's rated R. It runs at a long 2 hours and 17 minutes, but I don't think it feels that long.
No, not really.
Yeah, the pacing's great. It's got an 80% on Rotten. It's starring Denzel Washington, Ray Allen, Mila Jovovich, and Rosario Dawson. The premise is, after serving a few years in prison, Jake Shuttlesworth is promised a shortened sentence if he is able to get his son, who happens to be the #1 basketball prospect at the time, to join a specific college.
Yeah.
The trick here is that their relationship is strained. The relationship between father and son is strained because of the accidental death of the mom.
Yeah.
So what do you got? What do you want to talk about on this film? Or you have any questions, or what did you think about the film? Seeing it so 20 years later, probably.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't seen this movie in a long time, so I didn't remember anything really about it besides a few of the cast members and basketball. Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. It was really good. I was surprisingly, I was surprised of how decent acting chops Ray Allen had.
Yeah.
Being a real basketball player. And that's pretty cool. He sold it pretty good.
He does.
For just trying to be a kid in high school getting recruited. I thought Denzel is amazing, as always.
Yeah.
But this movie overall is really good.
It's very compelling.
Yeah, it was. It's crazy to see that side of athletics from coming from a high school, and kind of all this pressure around one kid, and then all these people kind of grabbing at him, saying I helped you out, so you need to help me out, and kind of that back and forth type of thing that goes around all the time.
Yeah, it's a cool take on people just trying to use you for their benefit, you know what I mean? Or how fast people can change once they see an opportunity to help themselves.
Yeah.
And he has his girlfriend after him. He's got his mother's relatives.
It was his uncle.
Yeah. They're after him. Obviously, the
agents.
The father has his own agenda too, which is kind of sad that they put him in that predicament.
Yeah.
Which is that's pretty much the main basis of the film.
Yeah.
Is his story, and then you meet Jesus, his son, later on. What else? Or who else is after? All the the colleges. He's got his friends breathing down his throat. He's watching himself constantly on TV, so it's got to be a strange feeling having everybody trying to tug you one way, and you're just trying to make your own
decision,
for yourself.
Yeah.
But this film, at its core, is a kind of a gripping melodrama that it does follow. It is. Basketball is involved, but it's more about the relationship between the father and the son. Yeah, and that's I think when this came out, probably a lot of people went to see it because of the, basketball being the premise, but I feel like it goes so much deeper than the sport itself, you know what I mean? It's very interesting.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question actually about what do you think the whole ending meant? the whole meaning behind that of.
Oh yeah, the metaphor.
Yeah.
When he throws the ball.
Yeah.
Well, in the kind of the middle point of the movie, when they do a flashback of Denzel, he kind of they're out on the court, and he's pushing Jesus too far, kind of abusing him because he's drinking at the same time, and they have undertones of him kind of being a mean drunk, or he takes out his frustrations out on his family occasionally, and. He finally pushes Jesus too far, and he says, "You know what? I quit." And he throws the ball over the fence. And later on, that comes full circle when his father gets put back into prison, and at the end, he's playing basketball in the. How do you say the outside?
In the yard.
In the yard of the penitentiary, and he starts to walk out of bounds, and he throws the ball over the fence, and it ends up back into Jesus's stadium, where he chose to go to the college at the big state. I think it was called in Coney, and the ball falls on the court, and I feel like that was a metaphor to represent like the bond between them. It's like, well, yeah, I'm gone, but I'm never really gone. Like I'm still there with you know what I mean. And and I think that's what I grabbed from that.
Oh yeah.
What about you?
No, it's pretty similar, and then also kind of like a way of Denzel, kind of his character like throwing his asking for kind of like forgiveness. And then Ray Allen's character, Jesus, getting the ball and kind of like smiling. And I felt like he was kind of like accepting that,
or it could have been like kind of him finally passing down the torch. Now it's your time or whatever.
Exactly. That's exactly pretty much what I was thinking too. But you got another question?
What did you think of the score? I know Chris really wanted us to talk about how well the music, so the music, the regular music was done by Public Enemy. I'm sure you know who that is.
Yeah.
And then the score was done by a gentleman by the name of Aaron Copland.
Okay.
And I think the score itself, like the serious music, like the orchestra stuff, goes so well.
It sounds really good with
the
this
tone.
movie. Yeah,
like it like immerses you even farther with the scenes on the court and the in his like cinematography and how he slowed things down, and then with the music, it's like you really feel like you're watching a masterpiece. Yeah, for sure at times.
That the score actually. I don't know if it's. I'm not too familiar with the the guy who did the score, but sounded familiar. So I mean, I'm pretty sure I've heard some of his stuff in other movies, but it sounded
or like commercials and
something.
Stuff.
It just sounded really familiar, and I really enjoyed it. It was it fit well with the movie, like you said, and it made it even better. It adds so much to it. I want to talk about his uncle, and how he was kind of throwing that, well, we took you and your sister, in, when we didn't need to, and I just want to get my beak wet, I just want a little bit, you trying to cut us out of the deal, you trying to cut me and your auntie out of the deal, and it's like, I thought it's just really messed up how that type of I guess money or what he thought Jesus was going to get money, he thought how that can kind of change someone, and how you said that it's kind of people change around you. It's kind of messed up, and I know it happens all the time.
And it's like real life. That's what I think this guy Spike Lee really shines when he does like gritty stuff like this, because he's like similar to how like in hip hop when people say, oh, like this hip hop is too gritty, or they talk about crazy stuff, and it's like, they're just projecting what they've seen,
like real life, and
that's what I love about his early Spike Lee's early work is it's like he's just incorporating things that he loves or that he's seen in his life, and then meshing them together to tell a story. And most of his films, maybe not as of lately, but his earlier films are very good.
I really like the way what's that character's name? I think they called him like Big Time or something.
Oh yeah,
the guy who picked him and his cousin up at the bus stop. But when they're driving around, he's telling them, like all this advertisement for for drugs and malt liquor, it's like liquid crack, and he's like, you see all those advertisements, where we live. He's like, but you don't see the same advertisements for malt liquor here than you do up in the fancier parts of New York or whatever. And he's like, no, we don't see that. And he's like, yeah, it's because I feel like Spike Lee was really kind of trying to explain, in not wealthy neighborhoods, it's a lot of things are advertised.
Well, yeah, it's like they're trying to low key get people addicted, or give them. There's a movie, I can't remember which one, but I don't know. There's a lot of like. Here's a dude. He does a lot of social undertones.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm trying to get.
And for example, at the end when Denzel doesn't get his son to sign the, he doesn't get him to sign the contract to go to Big State. He gets arrested and put back in prison. But instead of them just putting him back in there, they make it. They totally play the victim. The governor plays the victim, and they release in the paper that he escaped.
And then they finally caught him.
It
was just like super messed up. It was like, you're the one who let him out. And it's kind of like, how like, I guess it's how Spike Lee feels about like the black man being abused, or by just in general being abused by like government or people of
just not
higher
taking,
class.
Just not taking seriously, or when things don't work out to to their benefit, then they get to the short end of the stick.
Which is crazy too, because his son even goes to Big State where the governor wanted him to.
They still
and that warden's like, well, technically you never got him to sign. So we're not really sure how that's going to play out.
We're going to need time.
Yeah,
but I think they had already shot themselves in the foot because they had released to the paper that he had escaped and stuff. So it's, what are they going to do? They can't come out and say, "Oh, we just made this up." We're going to give him a shorter sentence, like
It sucks. You just find for me basically, I took it as they never really planned on doing it anyways. And I think they were just using him to get what the governor wanted, and that's to get Jesus to go to
dangling something up in his face, right?
And knowing the whole time that that's never going to happen. That's messed up.
What did you think of the ending, the one-on-one kind of Jesus's retribution against his father? Winning the game.
I thought it was really cool because it's kind of like for me that was kind of a lot like how you said kind of like a passing of the torch. Kind of like, and that comes a time. There's a time in every father-son relationship where the son's gonna eventually beat the dad in something, and that's that one moment where he's kind of like I think Denzel's kind of like, well, I've taught him everything now. Like I don't like Jesus doesn't really need him in his life. And that's kind of what I got from it. That he's bigger than him now, and he doesn't need that advice that he gave him when he was a kid.
Or that he's done his job. Because he was trying to get him to the next level. That's what he claimed, is that he pushed him so hard when he was young to get him to that next level, and then him on the court at the end is him finally playing against the kid who's on the next level. And that's why he fouls him. He just makes him look like nothing. But I have an interesting Swan fact on that. I guess that they were really playing against each other for real in that scene.
Oh,
That's
really?
not staged. Denzel wasn't supposed to make any baskets. It was supposed to be 11-0, and he made those 5 baskets